Happy Monday, everybody.
Happy Monday.
I'm from the episode of Yelling at Parked Cars. How are you guys doing? Tonight, I have with me Culture Casino once again, as well as Sir Talks-A-Lot.
Howdy.
How are you gentlemen doing?
Quite well.
Extraordinary. Wonderful. Tremendous.
Yes.
Fantastic. Spectacular.
So as you can see, Culture Casino does not have his cans on, so he can show off his lovely flowing locks today.
He has such pretty hair. I love it.
He does.
It's so fabulous. I feel this amazing and free, and I can whip it around, and it blows in the wind. It's spectacular.
I think it's just brave and stunning, honestly.
Well,
I
thank you.
applaud you.
You are
OMG.
brave and
Stop it. What's up, Carl?
So how much of a douchebag do you feel being over 40 with a ponytail?
I don't wear a ponytail.
Okay, with long hair.
Oh no, I feel great. I feel great. You should feel me sometime. It's amazing.
Take your word for it.
Yeah, for real.
No, honestly, it doesn't even occur to me. First of all, I don't feel my age. I don't
feel my age either. Sometimes in the morning when I get up, though. But
just a little less than a month ago, I turned 50. So I don't even feel that old. I still feel like I'm still in my 30s. I still probably act like I'm in my teens. So it's fine.
Hey man, that's what being young at heart is all about, man. Frank Sinatra, 100%.
Well, it's a crazy world I live in because my biological dad, he lets his hair grow long, and he's 70 something, and he still plays full contact softball with a bunch of old dudes. I mean, they are out there. I'm scared for my life. Taking some practice with those guys because they're for real. Dude, they're winning it too.
Before we get started, I got some stuff I got to show off. I went to the mailbox today. There was a lovely package waiting for me. Let me double check to make sure I get the name right. Yeah, that's right. Emotionally Unstable Amphibians sent me this.
Oh, yeah.
Check this out.
Love that name.
Front.
Holy cow, Front 242.
Yeah, I'm guessing these are singles. I haven't checked them out yet. Damn, dude.
They're awesome. Those
all the way from Europe.
They're in good shape.
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
wow.
I love that.
Also a frontline assembly, which I'm also a huge fan of.
Oh, dude, I think I still have my t-shirt.
Made in Austria. Damn.
Österreich.
Yeah.
Österreich.
Yeah, these are.
Dude, that is gorgeous.
Yep.
God.
That is. I cannot wait to listen to these.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
Oh, it's nothing better than new music, man.
Oh man, Chadsar, man, you're killing me. That stuff's hilarious. Comix are showing off his package. Demonetized.
Yeah, for sure. Although we're clearly marked as 18 plus, right?
Yeah.
Should be.
Yeah. You should probably put up a warning at the beginning of the show. This is not going to be anything anybody's excited to see. You got to be 18 or over, and then you'll still be disturbed.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's I always said it. You have to set it because if you set it to for kids, it automatically destroys the chat, and I don't think you can comment either, which is kind of the sucky part about all that. Anyway, so like if you're actually a kids channel, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah,
it just doesn't seem right. It would seem like they would want to allow a certain amount of content and comments and chat and all that. I mean, how did the video gamers get away with it? Because there's a lot of like kid-based.
You don't set it. You don't set it for being for kids. Is how you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even when the streamers are then transferred over to Amazon or something like that, Amazon gets to decide what the rating is. My son watches some shit that's rated everyone's 7 and up, and I'm all like, dude,
no,
the fuck are you watching, dude?
Well, there's like one thing I was thinking about doing, which would be kind of fun, like on Sunday nights, just doing a live stream where I build like a Lego set, and then, take that video and then like do like a, I don't want to say time lapse, but where they speed up the build and whatnot, and just post that on like a different channel. That way, it's actually family friendly content.
I can't do that. I can't do friend.
Well, the commentary going along with the bill would not be family friendly, but all you gotta do is like take the video footage of you building the set and set it to some fucking techno music, and
right,
you're off you go. It's
like 5 million views overnight.
Yeah.
Oh, I should build my Lego Friends like coffee house set. It's like sitting in there. Make a
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
I saw that today when I was picking up some stuff. I got the ATST from Mandalorian, and I got Luke's sand speeder. So
very nice.
I was thinking, it's like, hey, what if I could do a live stream where I just build the fucking thing? Anyway.
Ah, dude, now when you can actually get the sand speeder to float, then we'll talk.
Well, they do make clear plastic blocks. I can always set it on top of that.
Okay, all right, that's cheating.
That's cheating.
Or just like just like a few green blocks and then key it out.
Yeah. There we go. All righty. What's up, Chris P? How is everybody doing tonight? We have Toxic Man Flu in the chat. We have Shadzar. Disease. That's fucking great. I love that. Disease. Sounds like it's like when you look at it, you think of something else, and when you actually say it, it's like, disease. Well played, sir.
Yeah, I was mispronouncing wise guys because it's like whiz giz or whatever when you get I was like, I felt bad, and then somebody else figured it out, and I was like, oh, I'm extra dumb. Been doing that for months.
I felt the same way.
I do that show all the time. I'm pretty sure I pronounce like half my people in the chat wrong. We also got Roger the Shrubber. How's it going? As well as you, Culture Casino. And we'll see what else we got. Yeah. Naughty Monkey Orith. As well as Wingus Dingus.
Wingus Dingus.
We also have Big Ford Entertainment. And we also have Tim Flip, as well as Parrot Head. Hail, everybody. And we also have, I'm probably going to say this wrong, Miss Heffick one? Miss Heffick one? No, if I said that right. You can
I didn't even read it that way. I was all like, M. Sheffick.
M. Sheffick? No, it could be M. Sheffick. Yeah.
I'll mess up people's names so much.
Yep.
Like, it took me 2 weeks. It took me 2 weeks after we started dating.
One. Okay, there we go. M. Sheffick one. There we go.
Oh, okay, very good.
I'm so bad with all that.
I am too.
Dude, I have like somebody on my channel now who's a subscriber. It's really cool. It's like Mr. Tack Shark or something. I'm like, holy cow! Like, oh no,
Mr. Attack Helicopter.
I love that.
Benjamin is here, and also Grand Moff Inquisitor. How's it going, everybody?
What's up, Grand Moff? I haven't seen Grand Moff in a while. What's up?
Let's see, who did I leave out? I think I got almost everybody.
Chris P. There's a lot of people here, man.
Yeah.
Getting big chat.
Tillium is here as well. How's it going, Tillium? All right, let's get on to the first article, which, oh my God, it's a doozy. I don't think we're going to read the whole thing. As you kind of pointed out, it's really kind of the beginning and the last like 2 paragraphs that are really the most important. Yeah. The Great Reset. If only it were just a conspiracy. So out of curiosity, who got a chance to read this besides me?
I was watching Batman Forever.
No, okay.
Oh, okay. Well, I can't blame you.
I won't hold it against you. All right. Writing for Spectator US, Ben Sixsmith, there we go, gets the gripes of the Great Reset now being proposed by the World Economic Forum, Davos. And yes, despite the name, that sounds as if it were conjured up in some conspiracism. There we go. Thank you. I love how he uses dank. Conspiracism, dank, fever swamp. The Great Reset really exists. Yeah, we all kind of know this at this point. Yeah. Pause this crap because it's dumb. Yeah, I watched this video. I'll have to tell you about it later. It's pretty stupid. Okay, the World Economic Forum, which organizes the annual conference Davos, has launched an initiative called, yes, the Great Reset. It has its own website, and it's right here. Indeed, it does. As you can see, down at the very bottom, weforum.org/great-reset. One of these days, I'm going to be going over that site.
Yeah, I just downloaded the Davos Manifesto.
Oh, really?
I'm looking forward to reading it, honestly.
It's going to be interesting. But after noting that the involvement of the partners, such as, this is interesting. So this is a laundry list of big companies, and most of them big tech companies. Apple, Microsoft, Facebook, IBM, IKEA? Really?
Mm-hmm.
Lockheed Martin, Ericsson, Deloitte, Sixsmith doubts whether the Great Reset can be seen as something some like to suggest even allowing for a bit of hype as a socialist, leftist, Marxist, or a global communist takeover plan, which is kind of funny because I know you have some comments about that when we get down towards the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
So basically what he's trying to get at is saying that this is more corporatist in nature, and it does seem to be rather corporatist in nature.
When you control the means of production, you control everything.
Yeah, you really do. Fair enough, not least because the Great Reset is, in essence, corporatist, not communist. And I still kind of disagree there because I know that one of the things that we talked about specifically when it comes to Agenda 2030, or is it 2030 Agenda? I can't remember which one, how it goes. You will own nothing, you'll have no privacy, and you'll like it.
Yeah.
And you'll also eat bugs too.
Yeah, well, yeah, they're going to take away all of your worries of the world, because all of your worries are because of the things that you own.
Yeah, let me tell you, all my worries are material, dumbasses. I mean, give me a break.
No, actually,
what kind of fucking lowbrow moron would actually believe this crap? I don't mean to attack a lot of people, but I mean, this is some garbage, man.
These are corporate sociopaths. They get where they're going based on this limited ideological view. They have very little regard for anyone outside of 12 people that they care about in their lives. Anything beyond that, they're incapable of. And they won't see beyond their own personal desires, and regardless of the fact that they're pursuing an agenda that's mired in selfishness. But okay, whatever.
Okay, the participation of companies of the type that Sixsmith mentions is in reality the participation of certain members of their senior management using shareholder funds for purposes that have nothing to do with the bottom line and everything to do with wielding of power within a system akin to a concert with the state, if not necessarily the government, acting as a conductor. I'm going to close this down here because we don't need to see that stupid MSNBC garbage. It was pretty funny because I was watching it earlier and I was just like, it's Rachel Maddow and some other lady. And it's like, you guys are fucking morons. Anyway.
PMSNBC.
In the course of the article, The Great Reset, I wrote last month, I described corporatism as a hydra-headed ideology with origins in the pre-modern and a very mixed past. Sometimes
benignly.
Thank you. God damn it.
Yeah. That's all right.
Can I phone a friend? Anyway,
yeah,
benignly, it is influenced the formation of Western Germany's social market economy, and sometimes not. It was an important element of pre-war fascist theory. The different forms of corporatism has taken make it tricky to define within precision, but they share a common core, the conviction that society should be organized by and for its principal interest group. Let's call them stakeholders. Intermediated. Thank you. Intermediated by and ultimately subordinate to the state. the individual does not get to look in.
Yep.
And which is interesting because he really is kind of describing a lot of stuff that is being proposed by the Great Reset there.
Well, it's being proposed and practiced in certain states right now, in California and in New York. Corporations are partnered with government in a lot of different ways that make no sense.
Yeah, in a weird sort of way. I mean, that's really where you start getting into corporatism. It's the idea of that kind of like weird relationship between governments and companies, and specifically corporations, which also can be a form of fascism, or be fascism, I should say.
Well, and believe me, when you're looking backwards, like they were here in the previous paragraph, at Germany specifically, I mean, fascism and Marxist are two heads of the same coin. It's just a little bit different methodology. So, and the problem is, well, it doesn't matter. We're going to get into all this at the end, so I'll just wait for that.
Well, this is interesting because Shasta points out, how is this any better than church and state being linked? Well, it's not. I mean, that's kind of the whole point, right? Both have their issues.
Well,
and in a weird sort of way,
this is becoming a religion.
Yeah, well, it is. Woke is a religion or a cult. Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, like, back in like early 2000s, me and a friend of mine, we would drive up to Dallas all the time because we had friends there. We'd do that on the regular. And we were driving through this one part of Dallas, Plano. It's actually Plano, Texas. And the one thing we kind of noticed was how like you had like these giant companies, and around them you had these neighborhoods. And it kind of reminded us in a weird sort of way of like a modern version of medieval Europe, where the corporation kind of serves as the church, and then you have like the villages that surround the church and the castle.
That's how Canyon City is in Colorado with the prisons. If you go down there, you see that there's no one living anywhere but exactly around the prisons, because that's exactly where all the work is.
Yeah. And that happens in a lot of prison towns, especially privatized prisons. You have the castle, and then you have the fiefdom spread out around it, with all the presence. And that's, ultimately that's the direction these Maroons want you to go in. But there we are.
So in a way, when we were talking about this thing, it just reminded me of that. And God, Plano is just like one of the most sterile,
flat.
Yeah, well, not just that, sterile, and it's basically the same. Like you go through all these like neighborhoods. It's a very cookie cutter in a weird sort of way. It's like they're nice houses, but they all look alike, from the color palette to the layouts, and it was just very, very sterile, and it really kind of lacked anything natural about it. I mean, that's the thing I like about my neighborhood, is that, they didn't come in and bulldoze all the trees and just build houses and plant new trees. We
call that the sea of sameness.
Yeah.
Tract housing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's, Plano.
It's very plain O.
Yeah. It's funny. It's spelled like that, Plano. It just without the hyphen O. But yeah, welcome to Plano, Texas, where everything looks the fuck alike. Recently, one of the expressions of corporatism, stakeholder capitalism, has one strong support on both sides of the Atlantic. This might be expected in Europe, but that it has been taken up by the business roundtable, and many leading firms in the U.S. Allegedly, a bastion of both free enterprises and democracy is depressing. Looked at opportunistically, the BRT and its C-suite cheerleaders are useful idiots. Looked at realistically, they are part of the managerial class of, sorry, I know my eyes were getting kind of blurry. Managerial class of grubbing for the power that flows from other people's money.
Yep.
Guys, got any comments on that?
It's very insightful.
Yeah. Well, in a weird sort of way too, when we start talking about the whole thing with stakeholder capitalism, a lot of it also seems to be kind of like syncing up with woke capitalism, because that's what it's all about, is appeasing the stakeholder and not the shareholder.
Yeah, which is why you're starting to hear more and more about social credits and that type of thought process. You know, you will have a social capital that you will be able to spend. You know, by adhering to it within the norms that are established by these oligarchs. That seems a little more than draconian to me, but hey, whatever. You know,
Yeah,
party on.
social equity is literally the most dehumanizing thing that you could ever do, because you're literally putting a dollar value on a person's life, and that's barbaric, it's pig-headed, it's one of the most retarded practices ever.
Yeah, well, and yet, you know, the people that say that they're against the machinery are the biggest advocates for the machinery right now.
Yeah, that's so weird, though, man.
The so-called progressives are, you know, moving backwards in time, and you know their views are akin to those of the people who wore the white hoods that were pointy on top. You know, here in this country, I mean, their rhetoric feeds like that. This is the convergence of CRT and all of these various things. They seek to divide in every single element between every single class, every single race, every single origin. They will further divide you so that in the effort to keep you from unifying. In fact, right now, in amongst the folks that may be seemingly successful at creating a puppet holder presidency, which, you know, is going to happen soon, or possibly could. You know, you're going to see, you know, more and more of this. You will see less calls for unity and more calls along the lines that divide us. And like I said, I mean, it's not missing. I mean, this is happening. And the useful idiots, my God, there are several of them. I mean, they're pretty much all these actors in Hollywood. Yeah. Every single politician right now. It doesn't matter what side of the line they're on.
Yeah, I agree.
The folks that comprised the Lincoln Project were the greatest dividing line in the history of man. So, I mean, there's a lot that goes along with this, and I can wax poetically forever on all of that, but we will never get through this article that way.
That's true.
Yeah.
My one comment on the celebrity thing, though, is it boggles my mind how quickly these people are willing to apologize for even the slightest perceived shit these days.
Oh, but here's the problem. You're apologizing for days gone by. You can't possibly be held responsible for those things. Every single circumstance in the past was not the same as the circumstance that exists in the present. Therefore, any past action can only be judged on the merits of its accomplishments and the period of time in which it was actually occurring. And most people, when they think about it, they're like, oh yeah, well, these are the things that were happening at the time. So naturally, these are the reactions to it. But they're not willing to do that any longer. Their idea is the knee-jerk reaction to the thing within the now. Well, it didn't occur within the now. It occurred in the past. And so that's why holding somebody responsible, you know, for things like reparations, like the Maroon that is running California is trying to do right now, it's illogical. And some of the greatest minds in the world, some of the greatest black minds in the world, have said this is a completely ridiculous idea. You know, how do you apologize for something like this if you had nothing to do with it?
Yeah,
well, you can't. Therefore, you know, and they play on this idea of this white guilt because you're successful. Well, largely you're successful because
they blame your success based off of your skin color rather than
Yeah,
there's a lot of things that factor into being successful. One is, you know, your economic status, your drive, how smart you are, how persistent you are. I mean, there's a lot of things that really kind of factor into it.
Well, yeah, your genetic development may have little to do with your heritage. I mean, well, most likely it doesn't. You know, you come from good stock. You end up being, you know, the 6'4", basketball playing person, or you end up, you know, with 40,000 hours of practice, you end up being an excellent baseball pitcher. I mean, those are the you either are the beneficiary of genetics or the beneficiary of excellent hard work. You know, and in the pursuit of excellence, there's nothing wrong with it, and they're trying to demonize that as well.
Well, yeah, and the other thing too is there's that huge emphasis on equality, and the thing that I think most people you got to point out is that two people aren't alike. You know, they have different qualities, and I always hate that the idea of, okay, so equality comes under the law, right? Opportunity, being judged by a jury of your peers, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you were to put me up against, professional basketball player, they're going to cream me hands down because
yes, but
I have no athletic ability.
Right, but this is the definition of the difference of the definitions that we're talking about here. They're not interested in equality.
No, they're interested in equity.
Equity of outcome. Not even just equity, but equity of outcome.
Well, that's what equity essentially is.
Well, no, well,
whenever they talk about equity, they talk about basically the equality of outcome.
Yeah, absolutely. And their goal there is to take from others to give to people who haven't performed with excellence, and it's a problem. I mean, this all started with this concept of rewarding mediocrity by giving the children that lost a trophy. That's
I agree.
Extra stupid. And when you send your children to birthday parties where the birthday parents are providing presents for the other kids at the party, that's extra dumb with cheese.
That drives me nuts.
So I mean, you have these mentalities. Well, I don't want everybody to feel bad. Guess what? It's not their birthday. You have to teach some level of understanding to these people, or they're going to grow up to be, not just the kids that are, stomping their feet on their backs in the grocery store. They're going to be the idiots out there walking with Antifa until the first pepper, spray hits them in the face.
And then they cry when they get arrested.
Yeah, and exactly. You don't raise that kid,
I love seeing those mug shots online, though. Some of those people are some of the ugliest, weirdest looking people in the world.
Thank you, Andy. No. Thank you, Andy. No. Yeah.
My favorite is like the ones that look the craziest, and they're actually like the children of like really rich families.
Dude, like what's his name? De Blasio's daughter looks like a freak show.
Well, did you see is like before genetic studies after? It's like the before photo. She's a very attractive young lady.
Yeah.
And then she's got this crazy eyes and
yeah, dude. You get indoctrinated and it affects you like meth.
Fundamentally changes you.
Yeah. You've been programmed. They're talking about deprogramming the Trump supporters, dude. Look inward. You're looking the wrong place.
Right.
I mean, like I said, Trump has his faults, and I'm not a fanboy, but I have to tell you, weird stuff, man, from the super side of the left side of the weirdness, but whatever, man.
Meth is a hell of a drug.
Yeah, clearly, or cocaine or whatever.
Cocaine or social justice, anyway.
Same
Stakeholder, thing. Stakeholder capitalism rests on the notion that a company's management owes a duty more than its shareholders. Owes a duty to more than its shareholders. It's something that Klaus Schwab, the World Economic Forum founder, I didn't realize he was one of the founders.
Oh, yeah.
And executive chairman has been advocating for a long time. A key feature of the Great Reset is the idea that a stakeholder capitalism should, one way or another, be adopted. And I guess that plays into the whole.
By adopted, they mean forced down our throats.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they're doing it in the form of this freaking corrupt group of politicians. I'm checking myself all over the place, Comics. So I'm
no, you can let it out, dude.
I don't know.
Feel hate.
No, but I like your channel and I want it to stay here. So, but no, it's just this is one of those things. I mean, they've been looking forward to this for a very long time. This has been planned. They are opportunists of the highest regard and measure.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, I mean, this is spooky when they start talking about this, because and we were talking about this backstage, while corporations do owe a certain level of corporate responsibility to the public at large. It's called being a good corporate citizen. Mm-hmm. Beyond that, their primary concern and only concern should be towards the corporation itself, its successful operation and growth, and the promotion of financial instruments to enrich their stockholders, which would be dividends and things like that. Disney Corp for a very long time did it the right way with stock buybacks. They would take their extra capital, buy back their stock, increase the stock price. It benefits their stockholders. Then they would sell the stocks back, and they created this amazing yo-yo effect. So, but that yo-yo was always going up. So, like I said, those are the responsibilities of proper capitalism. They want to replace that system with something entirely different.
Very different.
So this
Terrible.
is interesting. Blah, Mayor. It's all just returning to the Middle Ages, aristocracy and church. Corporate leaders equal high lords. Managerial class equals land gentry. Yeah, academics equal high clerics. Woke trash equals fanatic paupers. Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at, man. Well, I was talking about the whole thing with
Yeah, we all get
Plano,
labeled
Texas.
dissenters and rabble rousers.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. Is now you've got 80 to 90 million people in this country that fall into the category you just described, Sir Talks a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's very interesting stuff for sure. Okay. That would reduce a company's shareholder to just another category of stakeholder, effectively transferring the power that capital should confer away from its owners and into the hands of those who administer it. They are then accountable to, well, it's not quite clear whom.
No one.
Yeah, it's not difficult to grasp why so many corporate bosses are enthused by stakeholder capitalism. Yeah.
It's get rich and kick out the lower shelves.
And that's what they're doing. I mean, anybody who's wealthy right now is essentially considers themselves the leading class. And Jeff Bezos revealed part of this when he said that the elite should have a bigger say in the way we're run. Well, no effing kidding, dude. You're falling right in line with this stuff. This is your plan. You oligarchs want to control the world. This is a person who, if depending upon if you watched Tim Pool or Gary recently, it increased his holdings, his wealth. This is Jeff Bezos, I mentioned, by $99 billion. His personal wealth.
As he put it, the largest transfer of wealth in history.
No, yeah, actually, yeah, that is almost be exactly what Gary said. Yeah, exactly. And that's a problem, kids. It's not just taking it from the backs of the small businesses, like unfortunately what happened to Gary's, wife's business, which is a travesty in my opinion. But they're taking it from the everyday. In fact, they have a whole plan. I think we talked about this last week, where they get rich off the poor people. That's messed up. Yeah,
it's messed up. But but that's like the whole point of the Great Reset. It's designed to close down those smaller businesses to prop up these larger corporations. And you saw the list of corporations who were on there. I mean, IBM, Apple, Microsoft. Yeah. And let's be honest, man. Fucking Bill Gates is evil.
Yeah, I've landed on that conclusion as well. But I have to tell you that the uber elites and the uber academic types are just trying to just force this down everybody's throats. They want this to happen so that they can lead the people, because they think that they're scientifically based when they've been pushing a very questionable false narrative. Scientifically down everybody's throats, when it's not true. I mean, there's a lot of not true being told right now. I'm frustrated. Can you tell?
There's a new push actually. I did a video on this a little bit ago, but basically the list of companies that's on this article is also pushing for a centralized research data hub. Where they can pool all of the nation's mobile data services in case of an emergency and run all research hubs academically through it. And it would be the largest on-site collection of both sensitive data and non-sensitive data in the world. And it would be open to pretty much anyone in academia to access at any time.
That is kind of creepy if you think about it. It's like Prism in a way, Yeah.
Well, and like I covered that story, and then I was like, okay, usually when I do this, a couple of other people pick it up, and then it went dead. Even in I think I found it in the New York Post originally, and they never even did a follow-up story or nothing. It just got swallowed up by all of the other social crap that was going on. And I'm like, I feel like because they had already introduced the legislation at the beginning of this year before all of the
coof.
Yeah, that's right. And bipartisan support was being shown for this, and no one was talking about it. And I'm like, this is one of the biggest like targets I've ever seen in my life. Like, they can pull anything they want through this because it's all centralized, it's all available. Access would be open to, I mean, how many professors in academia were backed by China, and now all of those people
over 90 over 90 in Harvard alone.
Yeah,
see, and that's
those people are going to be the ones that have access to everyone's data.
Yeah, and well, everybody. Yeah, it's the greatest intelligence coup if they pull that off of all time.
Yeah.
And not only that, consider this: CNN finally admitted in something that I saw on Twitter today that there was a treasure trove of documents that became available that China knew about this flu that they didn't check since going way back into October, and this huge explosion that happened in December. No kidding.
Really?
Yeah. I wish I had saved it. I bet you I could find it. But it was an interesting thing. I'm like going, oh, thank you, CNN, you communists.
Yeah. Man.
All right, let me grab these super chats real quick, and we'll get back to the article real quick. Tactics Man Flu for $5. Call it what this is: the big push to kill the great experiment of the only truly self-governed society in history. Shut up and get in line. Yeah, it certainly feels like it, especially when you read into the whole Agenda 2030 thing. It's it's definitely shut up and get in line. Obey, not even consume. It's rent. You will rent everything, which is fucking disturbing. I remember reading a Register article back in, it had to be like around 2000, 2001. About the whole thing with it. Basically what we're seeing going on now with something as a service, software as a service, whatever. The idea that you pay your monthly fee. This never really kind of manifested with operating systems. The idea is that it was something that Microsoft was looking at the time, which is the idea it was a pay by month for your operating system. And thank God that never manifested.
Yeah,
but we're definitely seeing a lot of things as a service, and specifically like Spotify and Netflix, and
I mean, they just discovered that that's where all the big money is. They were all like, oh well, we could dump it into this, and they discovered it for video games. I mean, relatively quickly.
Yeah, I was going to mention the whole thing
the industry
with microtransactions for video games.
Those microtransactions are just like,
well, games is but games as a service is getting a lot of crap right now. There's a huge backlash against
as well it should be, because we pay an outrageous amount for these games to begin with, in my opinion, and then we have to continue to pay for them in the first place. Well, that's what killed me on Halo Reach with Bungie, was them going, hey, you need to pay $60 for 2 more levels so you can keep playing this game that you already paid money for.
What?
Right.
Yeah, Halo.
Well, I mean, I get the idea of expansions. I don't have a problem with paying like 10, $15 for an expansion, but
Bungie money hungry.
Yeah, well, Bungie is owned by Microsoft now, aren't they?
I think so. Yeah.
There was a lot of there was a lot of that, but here's the other thing, and the reason I don't think games are worth what they cost now. They've not advanced anything. The technology behind games haven't advanced. I'm doing a gaming review. I already did it. It's cut and ready to go for Wednesday. But I did a gaming review for my Wednesday video. It's a long one, guys, by the way. Of Watch Dogs Legion by Ubisoft. Ubisoft is extra dumb. They released 2 games in the period of 2 weeks because they also released AC Valhalla, which I'm working on a game review for right now. But
it's funny, my wife is currently playing that game. She just got done with Watch Dogs Legion. What did you think of Legion?
Dude, you want me to blow up my video for Wednesday? It was meh. How's that? Can I just say that?
Well, it's funny because I was watching her play it, and my first thought is, what is this, the Antifa simulator?
That's my thoughts when I was seeing like the screenshots and stuff. I was like, oh boy.
Dude. Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. I mean, in fact, in part of my commentary in the video that is coming out to Wednesday, which I'm now destroying, is that you don't get pretty people. You don't get to do character creation in the traditional sense. You have to pick from a group of people who are not attractive. They spent no time in the facial modeling. There's only 2 attractive people in the games, and they're not playable characters, and it is no bueno. It is not. It is really. It's really not the game I was expecting. I always expect for tech to get better over time and gameplay to get better over time and issues to not be there. But there's still significant glitches in that game. I mean, I experienced it just in one campaign alone, somewhere like 8 or 9 different crashes of the game. So not to mention now they force the UB. Okay, so this is a weird thing. I can talk about this not in the review. The UB Connect thing for PC is basically de novo on steroids and equally not good for your system. So it regularly wants you to update. It gets down to the source code of your system, and it's not good. I don't. And you have no other way to go about playing this game other than to have this piece of junk installed on your system. And, it just fights with you. If you want to play offline, it's a war.
That's crazy.
I can't think of a single company that gave more bugs.
Oh, sorry.
My bad.
It's like I just realized, it's like I got to read this because Benjamin just gave me 100 Danish krona. So I was like, damn. No, the old aristocracy was bound to the land in service of the crown. They were not these Ferengi businessmen. Neo-aristocrats like the oligarchs are evil and incarnate, though. Yeah. Hi, guys. Hi, Benjamin. How you doing?
Hello.
And you are bright spot on, dude. They are definitely the oligarchs. These are evil humans. They and the thing is, they don't see themselves that way. Really, I mean,
they see themselves as saving humanity.
Yeah, well, I don't feel saved. I feel pissed. So, but
yeah, for sure.
Dude, there's a lot of us. Us pissed people can kick you in the sack. So
yeah.
Disease. I am talking about de novo. It's very similar. It's not exactly it. It does have some bones in there from de novo. Thank you very much, Ubisoft. You jerkweeds. It is no bueno. It is no bueno. So anyway, sorry.
Right. No, it's fine. From Garth Pastry Stabber, $5. Question for everyone: is nationalism versus globalism the same fight as individualism versus collectivism, or are they independent of each other?
Ooh, can I go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, those are the same fight in a simple way. From a simple point of view, absolutely, those are the same fights. They're equivalent in the type of fight you would be having. Because this is the thing. We had a very strong policy in this country of valuing ourselves first and yet helping other countries. Now every country expects us to always be helping them. So we have a nationalist identity. I mean, that's what our Constitution essentially established. But we still, goes back to the roots of this country, still contribute to other countries' benefit, especially those that with we are allied. In fact, that's what foreign policy is supposed to be all about. But so yeah, absolutely, they're the same arguments. I mean, you as a person,
they can be. The thing with nationalism can also be a form of collectivism. That's when it starts turning into fascism.
Oh no, but that's not. Yeah, but that's not actual. I mean, that's not the nationalism, the brand of nationalism we have in this country.
Yeah.
I see that the fight against socialism or globalism and the fight against collectivism are actually deeply entwined.
They are.
That you have to get rid of the individual just to make it easier to control the collective. Because if their independent thinkers are the downfall of any flawed plan, especially if they have even half a wit to go, hold on a second, that doesn't make any damn sense. And then you get executed for saying it doesn't make sense under these people's guys.
Well,
you get reprogrammed. I'm sorry, you get reprogrammed.
Yeah. A lot of Europe is very collectivist. When I visited Switzerland. There we go.
Oh
And
my
when
gosh, the heart of this bullshit.
Yeah, they are very, very collectivist to the point where, like, if you're speeding, they will report other people. That's how collectivist they are.
That's insane.
Yeah, it is insane. The reason why I was there, I was probably like around 12 or 13 at the time. And my uncle, who worked for the military, was stationed there. So we visited him, and it was pretty cool. It was cool because I got to see Europe. But it was just very different. And in a weird sort of way, the culture felt very foreign and alien because they were definitely very much collectivist. But yeah, I mean, in a weird sort of way, it is kind of tied in. Like I said, nationalism at a certain point can certainly turn into collectivism. But the United States as a country, though, we're very much big on individualism to the point where
made us successful.
Yeah, exactly. It did make it successful. And I knew a guy he was born in Europe, but for the most part was raised in the United States. And we've had conversation about this. That Europeans really can't fathom the whole individualism that we have. It's crazy how collectivist Europe really is. So all this kind of it rolls up into
the rest
globalism.
of the world is like that. I mean, a lot of the Asian countries are like that.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Russia is forced to be like that. They're forced to pretend like that. But if you ever see a wild Russian out there, crikey.
Yeah.
No one's thinking about anything but themselves.
Yeah, it's interesting. Going back to the whole thing of what Toxic Man Flu was talking about with the Great Experiment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of that was definitely built on individualism. And the thing that's so interesting about it is you can see where remember those articles we were talking about with white fragility, and there's that thing that was posted by the Smithsonian, and they're talking about like rugged individualism is bad. All these things that made people individualistic were bad, and collectivism was good. And again, what we're seeing going on right now with collectivism is the idea of judging people based off of their identity, based off their skin color, and that's all rooted in collectivist thought.
Do you think MasterCard's new push to put the preferred name on the card is similar to just make that a little more acceptable for people?
I don't know.
No, it's them virtue signaling and creating identity problems.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing, and this is probably one of the best examples I saw in response to that, because I was going to fire off something, but Mecca beat me to it.
I haven't. What was this? What's going on with MasterCard? I haven't heard about this.
Oh, they have a MasterCard that it's because they say in their virtue signaling advertisement that you get on Twitter that it's difficult for people who are transgender to hand a store clerk their card and not get funny looks because their name doesn't match what their identity is.
Yeah,
because their legal name reflect. Yeah, exactly.
Well, and isn't that where you get a name change, and therefore, if it's legally changed, you have the ability to do that? I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
That was AFK Bard's answer to it too. But the first answer was better, which was Mecca, who said, and this would have been my answer as well. You're not handing your card to anybody right now, you gizmo head. You're freaking shoving it in the shot and punching your damn thing. Nobody looks at your damn card anymore, you maroon tunes. This is a straight up virtue signal.
No, that's very true.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. But anyway, so that was where I was going to go with it. So Mecca beat me to it. But then AFK Bard comes along and says, "Hey, I changed my name just a few years ago, and it took me just a form and a couple bucks, and I was done." Yeah, no kidding. Dude, people change their name all the time when they get married. What is your problem? You can change your legal name to "I'm a bus." It doesn't matter.
I mean, if Zappa is allowed to name his kids Moonbeam and Dweezil,
I like Dweezil.
I'm pretty sure you can just change your name to whatever the hell you want.
Yeah,
because it's a name. You don't like the one you were given, go fill out the paperwork.
Yeah, I mean, you want to be, Sunbeam butt puppet. Nobody's going to stop you.
Sunbeam butt puppet. But I think so. What is the preferred card then? So you got to that. Was it just using your preferred name? Is that what it was?
They allow you to put
your
legal name, and then above that, your preferred name, which is what you would prefer to be called by the cashier.
I see.
Yeah. Tell me the last time you handed your card to somebody.
I'll be honest with you. I
ago?
don't fucking remember. I've been using either swiping it or sticking it in the slot for a number of years now. I mean, yeah.
You see this thing? You know what I do? I hit this button twice, and then I drop this thing on the freaking payment thing, type in my code, and flip off the people on my way out the door. Then I take my mask off.
I gotta read this. This is funny. Hey, Comics Division. We're secretly thinking about eating ramen tonight. Aren't you? LOL.
Ooh, that sounds good.
I have a large stockpile of shrimp flavored ramen.
Hell yeah.
So does this guy.
Shrimp flavored ramen is the best.
The boss and I have like a year's worth of food in this house ready to go. I mean, it's like, hey, something happens.
I don't know if I have a year's worth of food, but I have a lot of fucking food. I mean, if we couldn't go to the store, I'm pretty sure I'd be good for at least 5 months.
Yeah,
man. I live in suburb Colorado, man. I'll shoot a deer out my front door.
Perfect. That's a couple weeks worth of food right there, man. You're good. You're set.
They're everywhere.
Plus you're getting veggies there because those things eat fruits and berries and crap. So you're good to go.
All right, I gotta get this from Margie real quick. Oh, hey, MarjieSmiles, $9.99. Holy crap! Again, you don't have to do that, Margie. What continues to blow me away is to see countries all over the globe having Trump rallies. Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, in Japan right now. Yeah, absolutely.
Socialism for crying out loud. When the dust settles, this is going to be one amazing country. Love to all, and thank you. Thank you, Margie.
Thank you, Margie. That's beautiful.
Thank you very much. And that is very well said. I had no idea that you had these other countries that are having Trump rallies. That's crazy.
Yeah. Japan had a pretty decent one, but there have been other countries around the world that have done it. In Germany right now, many of the protesters are holding American flags, so that doesn't look good.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
You would think that there's M Tax Shark. See, that's the person I was talking about. So, but no, because we were talking about that earlier in the stream. But yeah, you think about where all of this mess came from the first time. It was Germany. You think those people want to return back to that? They've had enough of the of a return to that. They're adamantly trying to fight against it. But why would we adopt this? Anyway.
Yes, it's ridiculous.
We're never making it through this article.
I know Shadstar doesn't like shrimp ramen. He says chicken ramen or ramen with soy sauce and garlic. I have both. So I actually have a nice assortment of ramen. But me personally, I really like the shrimp ramen.
And here's the thing. I mean, most of mine is the chicken based, but I don't use the flavor packets. So I save them. So I have like 100 billion flavor packets. Because if I ever need chicken stock one day, I'm in good shape. Yep,
there's that. The other thing too that's also really nice is that you get canned chicken and you put that in with your chicken ramen. So because the big mistake most people make is that you eat ramen by itself when you're always supposed to add stuff to it. Anyway.
Yeah, dude, I like to grill chicken like a whole package of chicken like all at once, and then like make meals out of it. You can shred it and put that into your ramen. That's always good. There's lots of things you can do with chicken. Chicken's good. Shrimp's good. You can mix shrimp in. If you get shrimp ramen, you actually mix shrimp in there.
I actually have shrimp. I have canned shrimp for my shrimp ramen. If I get
they
desperate.
Make canned shrimp.
Yes, they do.
Yep. Okay.
You pretty much have canned anything.
I'm questioning that a lot. Is in the goodness. I'm trying to.
I'm gonna do some like stuff on prepping with my other channel too, and talk about some of the stuff. So anyway, let me get some of these comments real quick. Yeti Cat says, Comics Division, there are many countries that have done it. Canada, China, Germany, England, Japan, countries in Africa. The name is escaping me. Wow, dude, that's crazy.
Yep.
And Computer Robot says, Comics Vision. So here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, we are going through our second wave of stricter lockdowns of closing non-essential businesses again since it reopened in August. Save us, CD and CC. And here's the thing, man. If going back to that one article I covered a while back where it was talking about that email that was leaked out of Canada where they're talking about the lockdowns in late December. Seems like it's happening.
Oh yeah, dude, it's happening elsewhere in the world. Think about what they did to the UK as a short circuit breaker or whatever they called it.
Yeah, 2 weeks, folks. Remember, it was 2 weeks to flatten the curve, and that was it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, we were supposed to. Yeah, it was supposed to be like 14 days to flatten the curve, and that was total hog manure. All they were, they were just trying to buy time, see how many people were going to abide by whether or not they would do it or not. And the problem is most people were reasonable and went, oh yeah, well, yeah, whatever. I can miss 2 weeks of work. I can, stay home with the kids. I can play video games. Whatever. That turned into months, and that was not good. Well, here's the thing: the minute states started to reopen in defiance of like this national thought process that these news organizations were pushing, the economy started to bounce back, which started to look bad for their team, and so they changed. They keep changing the narrative, guys. It's not consistent. I mean, just like the science seems to change. Oh, believe the science
all the time.
Which, yeah, first of all, don't believe in science. Science is based in fact. So it's either it is this or it's not this until we test it and it's this again. That's science. You don't believe it. It's just there. So, and believing is a dogma. So I don't want to get on that.
Yeah.
Again.
I
say that all the time.
No, it's cool. All right. So I'm going to get this last super chat and we'll get back to the article. Benjamin, for 50 Danish krona, I think Comix Division needs to come back to Scandinavia. Nothing seafood adjacent here is canned. Shout out to Margie. Yeah, I'd like to go visit Scandinavia at some point before I die, at least. Anyway,
well, hey, we'll go hang out with Stieg.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Okay, but stakeholder capitalism is a betrayal of democracy as well as shareholders. The power it gives to managers is increasingly being used to support an agenda influenced by a cabal of activists, NGOs, representatives of international communities, and politicians too arrogant to go through the usual legal process. I really think that kind of sums up everything right there.
No, that does it. That is the perfect paragraph to describe everything that they're trying to do here in this country.
Yeah.
And around the world.
Yep. Okay, so I think at this point we can go and skip down to the very bottom and read the last two paragraphs. Right there.
Yep.
Excuse me. All right. Okay, what is striking about the Great Reset is not the scale of its vision, but how often and for how long we have already been hearing in one form or another variants of its main themes: the need for drastic action on climate change, stakeholder capitalism, definancialization, moving away from Anglo-Saxon model thinking of the planet before we travel, shop, or even eat, themes that in many cases have emerged from the fringes that take center stage, and not only in front of the Davos crowd.
Okay. For the last time, I'm not going to stop eating beef. They should just shut up about it.
Yeah. So this is basically
cows fart.
The thing that blows me away by it is the idea of, okay, we need to move away from the Anglo-Saxon model thinking of the planet.
Can someone more concisely define what that is?
White. Okay, Western civilization. Yeah, white is another way of putting it.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, essentially, it's Western civilization.
That's not racist at all.
Well, it goes along with what we've seen coming out of the BLM, defund the police, all those things. What do they want to do? And I've been saying this for a while. They want to tear down Western civilization. And this really kind of explains it. And it goes back to the Hill article where they're talking about activating left-wing activists to achieve these goals.
Yep.
So,
they've been recruiting them for years too, obviously. I mean, we saw that through the militarized tactics of some of these individuals that came out, and they were organized. They had supplies, weapons, they had plans. There was no way that this was a spontaneous outbreak. So, I mean, how do these people I know how they recruit them, but it's like, how do they keep them hooked? Because I know that a lot of them are indoctrination, but the ones that are just driving the screws, I don't think they're true believers.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering if it's blackmail or if it's bribery.
Well, I think a lot of it too is that it's I don't your true believers are your useful idiots. You have your bad actors. They're the ones that are really in control, and they're the ones that really stand to benefit.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta give a shout out to Moira Kitty real quick. Hey Moira, how's it shaking? Let me go ahead and I'm gonna go and reread this paragraph again, just so everybody hears it, lets it sink in. What is striking about the Great Reset is not the scale of its vision, but how often and for how long we have already been hearing, in one form or another, variants of its main themes. The need for drastic action on climate change, stakeholder capitalism, definancialization, moving away from the Anglo-Saxon model, thinking of the planet before we travel, shop, or even eat. Themes that in many cases have emerged from the fringes that take center stage, and not only in front of the Davos crowd. So when they're talking about the things that, before you even eat and whatnot, what they're talking about, and this is stuff that we've been seeing kind of creeping up in reporting, is that in the future, you'll be eating bugs. There's a reason why they're pushing that. Is because this is what they want for us. They want us to eat bugs. It's kind of like we're putting it out there to put it in people's minds, and we're going to start normalizing it.
Yeah, it's
so expect your cricket snacks coming next year.
Yeah, desensitization through increased exposure.
Yeah, and in a weird sort of way, you're going to start seeing bug snacks coming out. And you're going to start seeing other things disappear. So it's not going to be all at once. It's not going to be like we're removing your steak, you're getting, bug paste.
I used to work in a candy shop that did, it was actually a popcorn shop. It did specialty flavors of popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
And they sold candy. And almost every single week, a new type of bug candy would come in. It started with the novelty like scorpion suckers, like you'd see if you're on a vacation down in New Mexico or some crap. But then it was like chocolate covered grasshoppers, ants, and then like there were a few that I was just like, why in the world would you even sell this in America? Because no one's going to buy this. And it was like, I think it was a spider. A spider inside of a sucker. And I'm like, okay, I get the novelty of it, but you're going to go bankrupt buying all this crap because you're never going to sell any of it. And I was right. They had a whole wall full of Jelly Bellies, and those sold out every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, oh, I wonder why the scorpions didn't sell today.
Nobody wants to eat anything with a bug in it.
No.
Yeah. Not in the U.S.
Well, you eat hot dogs all the time, but all right.
Well,
yeah, but hot dogs are lips and assholes, man. It's completely different.
Yeah, you can also play ignorant with a hot dog because you can tell yourself it's just regular meat.
It's also wrapped in an intestine, but whatever.
I know.
I'm fine with that.
Shh.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
You're ruining my fantasy. No.
Lips and assholes. Lips and assholes. Six Smith, the elite consensus on the way ahead is disturbing. And so it is, he observes. One critic has called Davos the ideological synchronization environment for individuals, corporations, and governments to keep on the same page. That is different from conspiracy, but not that different. Excuse me, my contact was kind of, I won't say fogging up, but getting blurry again. When bad ideas are adopted internationally by some of the richest and most powerful people in the world, the effect can be the same. The Great Reset might be all the more terrifying for not being a sinister plot. And even more so, it may well represent too much our future for comfort. It's long past time to push back, very much so. One very small step could be for shareholders to insist that their companies' executives travel to Davos on their own time, excuse me, and on their own dime.
Yep. Yeah, but beyond that, I mean, that doesn't go quite far enough. How about you just insist that that the companies stop spending money on social justice bullshit programs and stuff like that? That's all in an effort to service this kind of an agenda.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty easy. I mean, either that or elect a new slate of board. I mean, there's a pretty easy way to accomplish a lot of these feats. So, and I think that's, if you're tired of losing money, stop supporting the people who support the people that are making you lose money.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing that's so silly about it is that the whole point of being held accountable by your shareholders is to make sure that the company profits, right? And obviously, taking to certain degrees, that can be very bad. But at the same time, the opposite could be just as bad too. The idea of being accountable to stakeholders. And again, this could be, your company, your goal is to push these social agendas. That's basically what stakeholder capitalism is. It seems to kind of go hand in hand with woke capitalism.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously that's working out great for Disney and Time Warner.
Well, actually,
all those great guys.
Actually, it's biting Disney in the ass pretty badly right now, in a way I can't even begin to describe. Their support of Newsom politically put them in this really weird place. Man, Gary's killing it lately because his video on Clownifornia also contained the Newsom stuff where the entertainment industry is an essential business. Well, smoke my asshole, Newsom, because that ain't fucking true. Everybody's essential, and that was Gary's point. And it's one of those things that I can't get it out of my mind that you have people that are still respecting these leaders who are do as I say, not as I do.
Well, and Gavin Newsom is a perfectly good example of this. That you talk about being an oligarch. You mere plebs must do what I say. Meanwhile, I'm going to party up with a bunch of other people.
Yeah, I love the rule for the mindset.
This dude here, dude. Those are my favorite videos.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just like that Gavin Newsom guy is the perfect example of like a textbook narcissist.
He's comrade.
He's one of the most greedy people I've ever seen, and all he wants to do is be a movie star. It's like, why don't you just eat a dick, bro? Get on my face.
Eat a dick, bro.
He pisses me off, man, because he thinks he's hot shit and he gets away with all this stuff, and then like all these people are leaving, and then he's all like, "Oh, small business day."
Oh, by the way, we're going to continue taxing
dude?
You because you live in California. It's like, fuck off, dude.
That's illegal. I mean, that'll never get past anybody, and nobody's going to pay that tax bill. California send you a bill, you'd be like,
piss off. Send the state police come get me.
Dude, to be honest, yeah, exactly. Well, I tell you what, there are lots of states that won't convey their occupants to other states, and for anything other than legitimate, extradition. Yep. That is an major illegitimate crime. Reason. Yeah.
All right, let's get some super chats real quick before we move on to the next topic. From MarjieSmiles for $4 American and 99 cents. Hail drunk 3PO. A bunch of alcoholic beverages ends with milk. That's hilarious. Couldn't stop myself.
Oh yeah. Hey, I get to hang out with drunk in just a few days. I'm so excited. Usually we drink and act silly. So even though Jay, I've streamed with him on occasion. I'm sure he has no idea who I am. He's a really good guy.
Yeah, he is. He's a good dude. God, man, probably one of the most altruistic individuals I've met in a while. I mean, shit, dude, going out helping kids build schools. Man, I mean,
yeah, for real. That guy's like,
he's a better man than me.
I'm not anybody special. It's like, whatever, dude. You step out and you're doing shit. You're actually doing shit.
He does.
That's
talk about walk it. We need more people like drunk.
Talking the talk and walking the walk, man.
Yeah.
I'm a terrible human being compared to him.
Oh, yeah.
Benjamin Flensborg for 50 Danish krona. Take them at their words for fun. The Anglo-Saxon civilization was destroyed by Vikings and their cousins, the Normans. More Danish Vikings, but the Normans did a lot of stuff. Did a lot of stuff. There we go.
Yeah.
And chocolate covered man flu for $2. You had to do it, didn't you, man? Feels like I'm being manipulated, but not sure.
Well,
yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, just a little bit. Oh, actually, almost completely right now.
Yeah.
But.
Yep.
A lot.
Benjamin, for another 50 Danish krona, California ought to succeed. Let's see how fast it crumbles for sport.
Snake Plissken.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. Their budget deficit currently is astronomical. They're in a very weird place. They could actually be bankrupt. We won't know yet, but we will soon.
Like the whole state's economy?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I clicked on it by accident.
That's all right.
I was trying to turn my camera back on, but I wasn't paying attention when I was doing. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, yeah, California is just a really corrupt state. And back in, I don't know if it was like the early aughts, maybe it was like the 2010s. I don't remember, but they had a series of really bad power outages. And they like jacked up the price of power. And it was like really bad. Where people were having like ridiculous electrical bills, like thousands of dollars a month. Yeah.
Well, they didn't. The state didn't. So here's the problem.
By the way, it was man-made. It was man-made.
Yeah, yeah. When you deregulate,
they really weren't having a power crisis. It was fucking man-made.
Yeah. When you deregulate corporations, you still have to observe them and hold them to the standards that are required for the industry. Deregulation doesn't mean no oversight. It means less oversight. And that's the problem in California. And that's why they end up with all the fires that have been happening recently. And the biggest one a few years ago was because a power line hit a unmaintained right of way. And you had the fire. So there are massive problems in California. It's all because it's poorly managed, and ever since I hate to cast dispersions, but ever since it's been fully blue, that's when it really started to go downhill.
Well, it's true though. I mean, it's what happens when you don't have any political competition, and it's like you can be as lazy as possible. You don't have to do the right thing anymore. So that's kind of the big problem with a state staying a particular color and not having any competition. It's the same issue exists on a red state that will always be red and not have a threat of competition. It will just be lazy in a different form or fashion.
Well, yeah, it breeds complacency and stagnation within the views and mindsets and policies and growth of the actual people that are within that government and within the state and within everything.
But you can accomplish so much, Sir Talks a lot, by just having Dominion voting machines.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Okay, so Blah is saying it was 2002, 2003. Yeah, that's right. And it was the reason why Governor Gray Davis lost his job to it. Yeah, I remember that he was voted no confidence out. And that's when Arnie took over as governor.
That's right. Mega douche.
Yeah, mega douche. Okay, Mutant Bandhammer for 5 American greenbacks. Do you think that other states will snitch former CA residents to CA in exchange for CA giving a similar list of those states?
Nobody's moving to California. I don't know what list they would be providing.
Yeah. I don't think so.
Yeah, it's a mass exodus. Believe me. Those of us in the southwestern states are seeing everybody.
Yeah, a lot of them are hitting Colorado.
Sorry, Garth. I think I did skip over your super chat. I think it jumped on me. Yeah, here we go. Yeah. Sorry about that. Thanks for reminding me, man. Garth Pastry Stabber for 5 American didgeridoo dollars, even though it's not Australia. It just kind of came to mind. I wanted to say armadillo dollars, but didgeridoo dollars came out. Remember 2008, corporations were too big to fail. The taxpayer bailed them out. This great reset feels like that on steroids, transfer of wealth.
Absolutely. And the last people I want to give a bailout to, and I've done a video on this, I've done live streams on it on my Tuesday Tirade Entertainment Talk, is Hollywood. I don't want to give them $1. I don't want to give theaters $1. I don't want to give anybody in the entertainment industry $1 for dividing our country the way that they have. I want them to fail. And, you know, my local theaters just fine. My local chain ownership's just fine. All my franchisee, they're going to be just fine. If you want to give them a bailout, sure. But if you actually give the big corporations, which are partially owned by China, I mean, let's be honest about it, and these studios money, then you are being a reckless child, and you have no understanding of the value of funds, the value of money, and what responsibility is, because nobody was acting responsibly in the last 2 years, especially the last year and change. It's been just the outward ill intent by people on one side of the aisle is just been hard to swallow. So anyway,
keep talking and let the dog in.
All right. Well, look, I tend to talk an awful lot, but do you have anything to say, Sir Talks a Lot?
Sorry. Okay, I'm back. My little brown dog, he wanted to come in. Let me see if I can get him. Cool. In my lap. Come here, buddy. Come on. Well, come on. We'll say hi. Come on. There we go. Hello. This is my chug dog.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a sweetie.
Hello. He
is part pug and Italian Greyhound. Come on. Get up.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, Italian Greyhounds are small dogs. They're not big.
Yeah. Yeah, and the good news is he probably doesn't snore like a pug. So
no, he does not.
Oh, that's
he's got an amazingly large mouth. It's ridiculous. So Dana B, can't wait to leave CA. My whole life here. 30 years ago, it was great. Not anymore. And the main thing to remember is don't vote the way you voted in California.
Right.
Fortunately, when I moved out of California, I was too young to vote and wasn't indoctrinated by, being Californian. So, just remember what brought your state to that point.
What brought you to your knees? The idea that you were going to support everybody else around you. You can do that with your own money, but don't do it with taxpayer money.
Yeah, and M Tax Shark is saying correct. See Alaska, and I believe Alaska is predominantly Republican.
Yeah.
So
I don't really like the homogenization of states. I think that's not cool. I think you need diversity of opinion so you can have better policy.
You do. Like even like back in the 90s, I mean, Texas was initially blue for a very long time, and then it wasn't until when Bush Jr. or GW became governor, beating Ann Richards, that it really went red, and it stayed red ever since then. And
Ann was bad leadership, though. That's
I mean, so much tonight. I just want to say, like, I've been super quiet, and all you guys are teaching me a lot. So I'm sorry if I don't have a lot of input. Sorry for interrupting. She
was okay. She introduced the Lone Star card, which really kind of reduced a lot of welfare fraud, in my opinion. So there's like certain good things that she did do as governor, and I don't remember her being terrible. But I was in my late teens at that point, and I wasn't really paying attention to politics. So.
Yeah, that was common dinner conversation with my grandfather was politics, and not just in the state that we were in, but in this other states around the country. So we were constantly being educated. And my grandfather didn't fall on either side of the political scale. I mean, he voted a particular way every time, but that was not. It was more about the policies than it was anything else. So I learned, like I said, I mean. I am straight up pragmatist, kids. So.
Yeah.
See, for me, I grew up with no politics in the house whatsoever. We didn't talk about it. Every time some political thing would come on TV, they would change the channel. They'd shut it off. Never listened to any of that. And I'm just now realizing how important becoming involved in the political process in the United States actually is, because people like me, where we went complacent and just kind of drifted for so many years, we really fucked things up, because if we had actually stood up a little sooner, we probably would have had some better results. You know?
But here's the thing. I think that you don't have to teach a particular ideology. You have to teach what politics is. I mean, we absent from social studies now is government classes. People don't understand the constitutional process to elect a president, which is why we have news organizations outright lying about it right now.
Yeah, I didn't understand it.
And they don't understand what a representative republic is. They like to call us a democracy, which to a certain extent there are democratic principles at work, but that's not the way our government was founded. For very good reason. We did not want to have the mob rule. We are seeing what mob rule looks like in social media and on social platforms, and it is ugly. And
well, that's the thing. Can you imagine, the United States becoming a direct democracy rather than using the electoral college?
Six states would control the entire country.
Yeah,
6 out of, and let me tell you, the other 44 would be pissed.
Well, and that's the thing that I think a lot of people don't get is, the flyover states, they're the people that make your food. And, they don't need you. You need them.
Yeah.
All right. So, MTAX Shark for 5 American armadillo dollars. There we go. I finally got it right. Isn't that amazing, though? The CA coast is a perfect place on the planet to live. It actually is, man. The peninsula was a great place. Why'd the humans ruin that? Great job, guys. I don't know, man. It's it's like what we're talking about. It's the idea of what happens when you have a dominant ideology and a dominant political party, and
years or decades. It's just it's destructive. It's a destructive force.
Yeah,
because you're unchecked.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh no, it's cool. I was gonna. Dana followed up with a comment here. Let me find it so I can highlight it. She says, "I vote red." Okay, good. It's pretty funny because like my parents were, California Republicans, dude, which is pretty moderate actually.
I can't tell you how many people I know from the OC that are thinking about leaving California right now. OC is mostly red, or has been mostly red for a very long time, and that right now, you think about the tax dollars that Anaheim alone is not getting, and the area around Anaheim isn't collecting because Disneyland's not open. And think about how the limited operation of Knott's Berry Farm is affecting the tax base as well. I mean, you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes that aren't being collected. So you don't think the city government's going to have a problem? So when I start talking about these giant deficits, it's not just the state governments; it's the city governments as well. California is in big effing trouble, and especially the primarily cities like San Francisco. San Francisco's been in trouble forever. But
I mean, that's the funny thing is like, I can jokingly say it's a shit show, but it literally is a shit show.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. That's Amber Heard's. That's the patron city of Amber Heard.
I hadn't thought about it literally being a shit show,
but it fucking is, dude.
All
this
that
thing is so weird.
nastiness everywhere. It's like India.
Yeah, Shadsar, Trump was building the wall in the wrong place. It should have been around California.
Would have worked. I don't. Here's the problem. The California as an entity has the 7th largest economy in the world, not in the United States, in the world. Just as an entity, think about the fact that that economy essentially completely stopped.
Yeah,
the effects of this are going to be felt for a very long time.
Yeah, it's a mess. Eric, what a beautiful dog. Why, thank you. Chug is a very handsome dog, isn't he? Let's see. Washington is a blue state. Yeah, and that's the thing. When I was there, I was in Seattle, and one of the guys I was working with, he was really big in the Second Amendment, and so am I. And he was talking about one of the laws that got passed there, which was terrible, and it was being pushed by Bill Gates too, which is even worse. But it's the idea that they're going after what they consider to be soft transfers. And what that means is that if let's say that Sir Toxalot and I go to the gun range and he wants to shoot one of my guns. And what a soft transfer is, I hand it to him and he shoots the gun. And they're wanting, they really made their languages when it came to transfers very, very vague and ambiguous, to the point where if I lend somebody a gun at the gun range, I could be in big trouble. So yeah, I mean, they were definitely going after the gun rights. So, and that was back in like 2013.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And that was was it just a new regulation on the soft transfers?
Well, it was the idea, the way what they were doing is they were revising the gun transfer laws. Like if you go and sell a gun to somebody else, you have to go over to a dealer and have them run a background check. And then they either get approved or not. But the language was so ambiguous that it could include what they call a soft transfer, which I explained.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's the problem is that you're going to find that if you can't make a law pass, you will litigate it to at the bench and create a precedent, which will build a law where one did not exist. That's a problem. And that's actually, believe it or not, the failures of these judges to follow through on the proper auditing procedures that are mandated by state regulation and not enforce those. That is ultimately codifying into law by precedent the fact that elections aren't that important anymore. I guess it's a problem.
So Toxic Man flew for another $5. Sorry, carbonated beverage. It keeps making me burp. In Oklahoma, we were Democratic locally and Republicans nationally, but everyone on both sides agreed on civil liberties and personal freedoms. And yes, I mean, that was the thing that was so crazy, is not long ago, that's how the Republicans and Democrats used to be, is that, they both still supported civil liberties and personal freedoms. And more so at the time, it was on the Democratic side, because, where were the protests at Berkeley about free speech? It was coming from the left.
Yeah, they don't want it anymore.
No, they don't. And it's
because
absolutely
it hurts them now.
It really does.
Never keep your own tools if they're hurting you. It's just a bunch of bullshit that goes round and around.
Okay. Benjamin, for another 20 Danish krona, they forgot to teach civics, why republics fail. There was one I saw. Here we go. It was Rowan's comment. Social studies replaced civics on purpose. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, and even then, even social studies still taught you proper government. I mean, at least it did through, the 80s, probably.
Yeah. Well, the thing I thought was different when I remember social studies was like history. To a degree, because when I was in high school, we actually had an economics class and we had a politics class.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And obviously history and whatnot. In history, I always thought history fell under social studies.
Yeah. One of my favorite classes in middle school was American government, and it's what got me into debate. And it put me in a position to argue from the other side, which made me which made it even more possible for me to defend my side because I was more informed about the other arguments. And that's how from that point forward, that's how I went about my life, is to learn as much about what the other side is doing so that I can fight it.
Makes sense.
And their motivations are always interesting. They're usually twisted and they don't make any sense, but they're there.
Okay. So let's go on to the next topic. I know that we've been trying to keep these to 2 hours because I know that you guys still have lives on Monday. So we'll try and get through this in the Joe Biden article real fast. But this is something I thought was really interesting because this is actually a blog post coming from DropBox. The Great Reset is here, like it or not. And this was written back in July. So this is kind of interesting. Of all the changes brought by a pandemic and the response to it this year, many seem as if they were waiting to happen, given a hard nudge. The Great Reset, a term popularized 10 years ago by a book written in the aftermath of the 2008 global crash, fits so well that the World Economic Forum chose it as a title for its current discussion of how governments and companies are looking to adapt. The Great Reset, the book was published back in 2010 by Richard Florida, an urban studies researcher at the University of Toronto who had already established himself as a writer for The Atlantic, of course, and author of The Rise of the Creative Class, another work whose title entered the popular vocabulary. Sorry, let me adjust my contact lens. With 3 more books on this new class of workers, young mobile professionals for whom the fast track was the only career track and their impact on cities and society. Florida had the cred to be taken seriously when he forecast a great reset rather than a great wipeout in the wake of The Big Short. And The Big Short was the nickname for what happened back in 2008.
Yeah.
Any comments?
No, not really.
Okay. All right, cool. I'll keep reading then. Study your history, he wrote, and you'll see that at least in the United States, there have been 2 resets already. Before the Great Depression and of the 1930s, there was the Long Depression of 1873, which began as a banking crisis banking crisis brought on by insolvent mortgages and complex financial instruments. Sounds familiar. Quickly spread to the entire economy, leading to a widespread and prolonged unemployment. I was unaware
of
of
that. Perfect opportunity for them. The coof.
Yeah, except that, like I said, when the states started to ignore the media and go back to operational status, the economy started to bounce back in those states. Those states were usually one particular color, and the states that weren't doing well were a different color.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how you mentioned that. Yeah. America's crash led to reboots. Both of these depressions set the stage for a rejiggering of work, finance, and lifestyle, aided by technological advancement that enabled new ways of living and getting things done for both individuals and industries. It doesn't take a war to lift America out of a depression. Well, actually, it kind of did. So
it helped.
It certainly helped. In fact, the last 2 decades have shown it doesn't work.
Actually, had we not gone to war or gotten into war, we would have been stuck in that depression much longer. There were the social programs that were installed at that period of time was actually creating a worse problem than what had existed previous. But hey, whatever.
Mm-hmm. In many cases, this year's sudden lockdown and shutdown only accelerated change already trending. Yeah, because people have been trying to force it through global warming.
Yep. And when that didn't work, it became a whole new ballgame.
Yes. And going back to what Culture Casino said, the ones that didn't lock down very long, their economies bounced back, where the other ones that locked down longer and continued to lock down did not. What does work, Florida wrote, is a redrawing the economic map and overhauling cities to meet the new set of operations and limitations. After the Great Depression, suburbs proliferated so rapidly that that by the 1960s, their populations outnumbered the cities around which they were built. Anyway, that's kind of a separate thing, I think, though. But that has nothing to do with the retooling of the economy, though. It was the fact that because you had the population booming, they were building, they had to build out faster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also people had the means to actually buy houses and not just live in apartments too. So there was that, the whole economic boom that happened after World War II. At the cusp of 2010s, Florida observed another migration in progress, this time to heavily populated
mega regions.
Yeah, mega regions. Yeah. Yeah, mega regions, New York City, San Francisco Bay Area, and SoCal regions around Los Angeles, and less celebrity-packed areas around the U.S., where cities more than 100 miles apart, Miami, Orlando, Tampa, Seattle, Portland, Vancouver, had already merged into one continuous region. Well, that happens when cities continue to build out. You get what happens what happened with Dallas and Fort Worth, where these two metroplexes meet, and it just becomes called Dallas-Fort Worth, even though they're technically two different cities.
Well, here in Colorado, it's the same thing. Up in Denver, I had no idea there were like 13 different towns within Denver limits because I just figured it was all just classified as Denver.
Yeah, when I lived in Denver, I lived in Littleton.
Yeah, Littleton, Inglewood, Aurora, it's all part of the same freaking city now.
Pretty much.
Evergreen. Yeah, it's that whole area. But even that Dallas-Fort Worth now, doesn't that also include Arlington? I mean, isn't
pretty much it's a sprawl is what it is. And
yeah, it's like the deserts in China. They just keep growing and growing and consuming, and eventually there's not going to be any natural beauty left at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be cookie cutter homes and really ugly, high quality apartments. That
what? Those things fall over every day.
Yeah.
I wish they'd fall over here. I could see the mountains again. Shit's annoying.
Okay. Had already merged into continuous regions, trampling state borders and draining residents from rural areas, no longer in need of a large Oh, bullshit, buddy. Fucking bullshit.
Since when do you not need a large agricultural center?
Yeah. No longer in need of a large agriculture or natural resource forces. Yeah, you still fucking need them, buddy. Yeah. Terrace farming in cities isn't exactly a thing yet. So yeah, you still kind of need the people out in the rural areas. At the time, the 40 largest mega regions around the globe held 2/3 of its economic ability. Florida forecasts was that instead of flocking to coastal cities, people would seek new areas where they felt more comfortable and at home, and where life was more affordable. Yeah, unfortunately, those areas are not becoming affordable because of California or
They're
Californians.
so expensive.
Well, like even where I'm at, the cost of housing has gone up, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that you have, a mass migration into Texas. Austin was actually ruined by California in the 90s. You had because of what was going on with the tech boom in the late 90s. You had a lot of people that they actually called Austin little San Francisco because it was, it's a very liberal city. It's a college town. And yeah.
Yeah, I call Denver little LA, and that just makes my town Compton sometimes.
That's not good.
Yeah. Work would become much more distributed, not only for the creative class, but for the creative class, but for anyone who didn't need to be on site. Not only could you work from home, but you could make your home wherever you choose. Florida was clear. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I like working remote. I've been working remote for like the last 7 years.
Well, there's certain things that are totally fine remote wise. But I mean, they're trying to push out key institutions that build social bonding as well. And that's just going to create an entire generation of sociopaths. And I'm already seeing it. I'm like, I can't diagnose you because you're only 11, but I swear you've got antisocial personality disorder already. You just wait. you're gonna kill some cats in a few years.
Yeah.
We had a serial killer practicing out in a town about 30 minutes away from me. He was abducting and mutilating all these house cats and shit. And I was like, man, just wait. There's going to be fires soon. And like, I don't know if it was Antifa that started the fires or not, but then Colorado burst on fire. I'm like, wow, okay.
Damn.
We got a lot of crazy people out in the boonies, dude.
Yeah.
Crazy people.
Florida was clear, though, that that resets take time, the better part of a generation. We can't predict with any certainty what the next economics landslide and spatial fix will look like. 10 years later, here we are. Surprise! Actually, we want to grab some chats real quick because thought they're kind of interesting. All right, so Benjamin, for another 50 Danish krona, exactly as fantastic prescribed in Italy in the 1920s.
Yeah.
Yep. Fascist Italy.
Oh, fascist. Sorry, yeah, fascist. Exactly as fascist prescribed in in Italy in the 1920s. Fantastic. Fucking, you can read, dude. Trust me. Okay, Margie says, Great Depression was created by the banking families playing both sides.
That's true.
Eric, I was rewatching a Friday Night Tights live stream of Bad Reboot ending, White Comfort, and That's Scary, is that all these things happening right now, coming true right now. Yeah, it is pretty weird. I still need to make a video about the whole White Comfort thing because I still have that PDF pulled up. And all this plays into everything we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I could use some Southern comfort. I don't know about it. Like,
indeed, Southern comfort. Shatsar had another really interesting comment. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Going back to feudalism, culture, the Mott and Bailey that Comix was talking about earlier would have the prisons. Would have the prisons, them outside of them would be 10 times the amount of farmland.
Absolutely.
Yeah, dude. It's crazy stuff. But to say for them that they don't need rural areas, that's really fucking.
You have to remember that all of this was accomplished through the redistribution of supply chain by the global pursuits of the Bush family. The New World Order was also about establishing global footholds in globalism. So you would have your food provided by different countries, Brazil, et cetera, Chile, other places like that would bring instead of the U.S. being the breadbasket of the world, you were distributing it amongst other countries. You were redistributing wealth at that point already. So, and that's the thing that Trump went about dismantling, which pissed all these people off, which is why we're here where we are now, because he renegotiated and or canceled a lot of the treaties that had been previously signed and created trade deals that actually did not benefit the other party more than it benefited us. And boy, did that make them mad. That's what this is all about, guys. If you don't, this is where this is all coming from. He went about resetting all of these norms that the other side had been trying at, or the deep state, or whatever you want to believe. Yeah. But the fact that he stopped illegal immigration to almost completely in its tracks, and everything else that came along with it, that foiled a lot of plans. He changed NAFTA. He changed a lot of things. He put into place the opportunity to have a highway that went from Canada to Mexico. But along with those things came a deal that, would be a fair exchange rather than one where the United States is providing for everyone else. And the China people, the China deal, the people in China, the leadership in China, they are not happy with the deal that he made them carve out. He's irritated a lot of these powerful folks and that are willing to act in bad faith, these bad actors on a global scale that we were describing in the previous article.
And it's the reason why he can't win, right? Because they can't implement these plans if he's in power.
If he remains in power, which, man, there were a lot of opportunities for him to stay there. Now there are a dwindling few, but with enough information out there in the general public, things could sway. We'll have to see. But at this point, the only people that could fight against us, if he's not in a position of power going forward, is us. That's it.
Yeah, it's pretty scary. So B-Spin, the dark, bleak futuristic dystopia we've been seeing in movies is coming very soon. We're already living in 1984 meets the Guyver. Yeah, man, we're definitely getting to the point where we're definitely putting the punk into the cyberpunk. Specifically when it comes to what's going on with corporations, all the stuff that they're talking about really kind of plays into that dystopian future of cyberpunk, which is pretty frightening. Corporations really controlling everything. The only thing that we don't have is the fucking cybernetics.
They're pushing for it. They're absolutely pushing for it.
Cybernetics are right around the corner. I hate to tell you.
Yeah, I think they are. And I'm not going to disagree. And I would love a prosthetic eye because I would love to have vision back in my right eye.
You know what? It's very possible in the near future, my friend.
It really is. And it's actually, unfortunately, a lot of the medical advancements with prosthetics and stuff like that are incredibly good, but it's leading to people wanting just like full on body swap, like Repo Men style stop and swap parts, where they're like, oh, well, I kind of don't want this shitty arm anymore. Can you get me a new one? Just because, like my shoulder hurts every other day. Can you get me something that's like hydraulic, gives me a little more strength?
Hey man, I'll be honest with you. I would definitely go for the full prosthetic body if I could. A la Ghost in the Shell.
Well, for me, it just goes down to like the more tech that's in your body, the more control they have over you. That's always the theme too.
That's also a possibility. And that's like one of the themes with Ghost in the Shell is like the whole idea of ghost hacking and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I can't wait to go visit the Ripper Doc, dude. That's all I got to say about that.
Yep.
I got some thoughts on that. Speaking of which, December 10th is right around the corner.
Yep. I gotta go secure my copy. Changes waiting to happen. In many cases, this year's sudden lockdown and shutdowns only accelerated changes already trending. Shoppers were already abandoning malls to shop from home. Many career professionals had pushed to be able to work from home, whether sometimes or all the time. Jobs have been moved to cheaper geographic regions, not necessarily a good thing. Younger Americans didn't share their parents' longing to own cars and houses, but yet they still kind of do. And even the young were going out less already, finding entertainment and connecting with others from the convenience and comfort of home. God, yeah, I mean that.
Yeah, well,
it doesn't replace actual human interaction in person
at all. And I actually have a little excerpt from Klaus Schwab's Great Reset.
Oh, I want to.
COVID-19 Great Reset.
I gotta buy that book and read it.
And it says, during the lockdowns, many consumers previously reluctant to rely too heavily on digital applications and services were forced to change their habits overnight. And of course, abandoning cinema, having meals delivered, not talking to friends in person, and this went the wrong direction. Sorry. And many of the tech behaviors that we were forced to adopt during confinement will through familiarity become more natural. As a social and physical distancing persists, rely on digital platforms to communicate, work, or seek advice will gain little by little gain ground to formerly ingrained habits. So like that's their goal is to just cut out all of these habits and make it to where you guys get to stay at home and then they can spoon feed everybody whatever the fuck they want to.
Yeah, because nobody's actually fact checking anymore. I mean,
no, not at all. They're not taking the time at all.
Candace Owens recently won a claim against a fact checker, PolitiFact, in which they had to give a formal apology and retraction to her for misrepresenting something as fact when it was not.
I like that
What was
lady.
This was Candace Owens. This was
yeah.
recently, just like a day or so ago.
She's
So
so great.
yeah, but she punched him in the face. She said most people don't have time or money to do this kind of thing, and she's like, I have both time and money, so here I come.
Well, I'm glad
So,
she used it for a noble pursuit.
Yeah.
yeah, well, absolutely, because she says the fact checkers lie. They are owned by the people that are making the facts up in the first place.
Yeah, this is the thing I find so funny is like the idea of Twitter and YouTube trying to be the arbiters of truth.
Yeah,
Well,
I went to share a
it's
link to
scary.
Steven's Indiegogo earlier, and they were like, "Do you want to read the article before you share it?" I'm like, "I've looked at it 50 times. It's a different link,
Yeah,
but it's the same. It's a book."
Yeah. Well, I want to read an article about a book that I've already know about that I want to promote.
Whoa, what article are they talking about the book?
No, the book itself they listed as an article that needed to be read before I shared it, despite the fact that it was a link to his Indiegogo account to actually boost his book. It was, I've seen it on a lot of things. A lot of Indiegogo, as a matter of fact, is just being like, well, do you want to see this? Don't read the headlines. It's, I went to check out one campaign on there and I clicked on it and it was like, I just went to share it and it was all like, headlines don't tell the whole story. And I'm like,
no shit.
I'm like, well, okay, that's great. But, it's Cyberfrog.
Yeah.
What headline is misleading on this?
Oh my god!
It's like,
Uncle Ethan is making good stuff. Why you want to push a man down? What's wrong with
For
you?
real?
Yeah,
Hating the man.
Okay, maybe too much at home sometimes, but these changes were already rolling. In hindsight, the Great Reset, like Malcolm Gladwell's The Tipping Point, didn't see SARS-CoV-2 coming, and it didn't last very long, I believe. SARS-CoV-2. Instead of a gradual workforce dispersion driven by thought leaders and early adopters, we got sent home, many of us without our jobs. SARS-CoV-2, that is COVID-19, right? I don't remember.
Yes.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Most people don't know that name, but yeah. Oh no, yeah, that was how it was first classified. In fact, it's remarkably similar. Some of the subtle differences are that it will actually spawn. It will go throughout your body, and it'll cause your body to spontaneously create cells that were never intended to be in that part of your body. Which means that when you get round two of it, it's very severe because it affects regions and organs and things like that didn't have those receptors to begin with.
Yeah.
Does it generate prions, or does it actually generate new receptors within the tissue?
New receptors within the tissue, not the prions.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And yes, Ma Nui, Candace is the one who created Social Autopsy, which was, I don't think it was a doxing website, but it was an attempt at social credit. Yeah. So anyway.
Oh no. Were you sure that wasn't AOC?
No, it was actually Candace Owens. Yeah, no, Social Autopsy. Yeah. Like a jammed smartphone, life was shut down, leaving us wondering if it will reboot. What now? Despite the uncertainties, let's be honest, many of us are quite enjoying it. Yeah, if you enjoy having your liberty stripped from you, I guess so.
Man, I'm going crazy.
Yeah, yet for more of us are not. Change is stressful, even when it is for the better. In the long run, no one likes being shoved out of their comfort zone. That's very true. No one also likes having their civil liberties stripped away either. And that's what this is doing. And going back to what we were talking about earlier, this whole thing is fucking conditioning. Going back to changing people's habits, what you're reading, Sir Toxlock, this is all about social engineering, changing people's habits, and basically manipulating them.
And a lot of people's objections to the vaccines that have been developed to fight this particular thing that we're dealing with is that they're RNA based vaccines, and they have a tendency to be able to change DNA. So that's cause for concern for some folks.
Yeah. Well, another push that they actually talk about in the Great Reset is the need for further genetic enhancement of the human species so we can ascend to where we're supposed to be evolutionary wise.
Yeah.
And a lot of that has to do with genetic recoding, the old idea of programming your baby's genes while it's still in the womb.
No, yeah.
And this is a major like wet dream for Schwab too, for Klaus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you're rich, you have a lot of ideas, right? It's just with money, you're able to pursue them, because we all have crazy ideas, don't we?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing, Margie, the COOF itself, it's not a hoax. It's very real.
It is.
But it's definitely being used politically to push this nonsense for sure.
It was used politically to control an election. It was used politically to tell a narrative. It's been used politically
to collapse economies. I mean, yeah.
And not here's the thing: the United States, we still have a good economy compared to the rest of the world. We are kicking the booty, right? And that's because we still have states open that are still doing shit. It's only these dumb states that are closed that are having the problem. So
and the other thing too, like I said, it's like I've known a lot of people recently who's gotten it, and it's like not that bad, but it could be because there's multiple strains. I mean, everything that I said, I did some research, and it's less than double the numbers of the number of people who died is less than double that of the flu. And again, we all know that they've been inflating the numbers, so who knows what they actually are, but it's, it is a thing, but it's not as bad as they make it out to be. The thing that was supposed to be that they were going to try and push was the swine flu back right around the same time as the economic collapse back in 2008. Because this is something that Klaus has been trying to do for a while. And unfortunately for Klaus, the swine flu thing didn't kick off. And the swine flu was way worse than the COOF.
Way worse. Yeah. H1N1's really bad. And we also, crap. I lost my train of thought. It was very important there. Someday it'll come back and I'll say the insightful thing I had, but I don't have it anymore.
Yeah. And the other thing too is like I've known people that they swear they got the COOF last year back in December.
Yeah, and they did because of an article I sent you in the private chat. You can check that out.
Yeah.
But beyond that, my biological dad, who's in his 70s, and my stepmother, also in her 70s, they had it recently, like within the last 2 weeks, and my biological father is already back playing softball full speed. Fantastic.
So, and Margie says that she 35 years in the healthcare field, boys. We had millions of viruses in our bodies already. Yeah, you're right. Why aren't all the homeless people dead? Because it's not that deadly. It's the same reason why they don't die from the flu. I mean, I think the death count is definitely being over exaggerated. I think there's certain people who are more susceptible, but it's like the same thing with the flu, though. It's like I had a coworker that got it. He was out for 2 weeks and he's back now and he's fine. I have like literally 5 members of my wife's family who have it currently, and it's like the flu.
Yeah, and actually, to speak to something that B-Spin just put in the chat just a second ago, I'm going to speak to this right now. There was a study done by John Hopkins. It was actually published and then rescinded inside of 2 days that stated exactly this, that 2020 will have almost exactly the same total deaths of all causes.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah. It was, we actually, I think we had less death numbers than 2019, even with the COOF numbers. Our death rate is like a lot less. It's really funny. Yeah, I mean, this thing is not as deadly as they're making it out to be.
Well, we had this conversation last week where all of a sudden the common flu, has been cured. That's because nobody died of that. Strep throat's been cured. Nobody's dying of that. Nobody's dying of anything else right now.
or all those numbers being rolled into the COOF numbers. So.
Well, you have a motorcycle accident and you died of the COOF, especially if you're in Florida. It's one of those things. So we're starting. I mean, people are starting to question it, and they're like, well, believe the science. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. Why are you pulling back the science then when you have actual studies that don't support your information and you force them to be retracted? That's garbage.
Yeah, and science isn't science unless you have the ability to falsify it, unless you have the ability to test it and check the data. And if they don't make the data available, you can't falsify it. Therefore, it's not science. Yeah,
she's also saying on the CDC website in March of this year, they said the coof was no more dangerous than the flu. I think you're right. I think it's no more dangerous than the flu. I think the numbers are being inflated.
Yeah. Now, there are some long-term health problems that come along with this if you have a severe case, and I've talked about the reasons why. But at the same time, after you've had this, you're going to have the antibodies for a while, just like with any other viral thing that you contract. So, and the thing that they were doing in China was they were extracting antibodies to use in plasma for plasmapheresis to go ahead and treat people that were infected. So, like I said, I'm really frustrated because of how this is being covered, and because of articles like this that are maybe well-meaning on one side, but incredibly misinformative on the other. So,
remember, the whole thing with the coof too is being driven by the need for them to want to push the Great Reset. So that's the reason why it's worse than it actually is because you can't have if we don't lock down, you can't collapse the economy, and that's what they're going for. Is to control collapse of the economy so they can issue in the fourth industrial revolution and the Great Reset. So this is kind of all playing into what we're currently talking about. And like I said, it's not a conspiracy theory. I mean, it's literally on the World Economic Forum's website talking about using the coof to push the Great Reset. It's the same thing with that Hill article, which I've talked about multiple times. They're using the coof as a means to push the Great Reset. Reset. Yeah,
and it's because
they're order 66ing the economy.
They really are, and it's because these individuals jump on every crisis and try to push the same.
They do.
Thing.
Yeah, and the news is complicit because they survive on fear porn.
Oh yeah,
and it's nobody out there is being level-headed about anything right now, and which is one of the reasons why when I try to talk about these things, I try to approach it from the most level-headed position that I possibly can. So
yeah.
But this is terribly frustrating.
Anyway. Yeah, it really is.
That's
the thing that I find so kind of scary about it is that I know that Awesome One pointed this out. Sorry, I'm gonna get these super chats out the way. That way, holy crap! I didn't realize we just went over time.
Of course we did. Yeah, but that's normal. We can't stop. This is the great thing about this panel that you put together. I mean, the fact that I'm here, but no, I mean, Sir Talks-a-Lot's freaking awesome. So I'm having a great time.
Ted for $3, he sent a super sticker of a fox saying, "How's it going?" Because I got some other ones I want to highlight too. MarjieSmiles for $4.99, 99 souls in here, and how many thumbs up? Come on, guys and gals, hit that like button. And it skipped on me because I know that Benjamin sent me another super chat too. I think that's it.
Yeah, Benjamin did hit you with another one. Yeah.
Okay, Benjamin for another 50 Danish krona. So I got David from the internally screwed up Baltimore to join the chat. You guys say hi. To a lost right-wing soul in the depths of blue Maryland. How's it going, David?
Hello.
Hey, David.
But there is this one thing I had to scroll all the way down that I want to highlight from Awesome One. I watched Global News. It's biblical. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things on that are kind of going on that are really kind of frightening. Very kind of Mark of the Beast-ish. And I'm not a religious individual, but there's definitely stuff where I see it's like,
yeah, I love that side of the conspiracy stuff, Like the religious side where I'm watching it, I'm all like, oh no, the Baptists are gonna lose it over this one.
But the thing that's so scary about it is the idea of, if you don't get your vaccination, you can't buy groceries. You can't do all these things. It's freaking scary, dude.
Yeah,
it's freaking scary.
We need more Xenu, dude.
Yeah. Let's see. MSM bought and paid for actors. Well, the other thing too, it was really kind of frightening is that they were showing stuff and saying it was related to the coof and it wasn't. Mm-hmm. Back when they're saying all these hospitals were packed with people. I mean, the media was like legit busted.
Yeah, weren't they like pulling archive footage and
yes,
shit
they were.
Like that?
Oh yeah.
Now, you could say that they didn't have access to it, and that's the reason why. I mean, the thing that's fucked up about it is that you do have like a level of plausible deniability, saying, "Oh, we needed stock footage, so we used stock footage."
Then they should have put archive footage down.
Yeah, I know, but it's so fucking.
Dude, they've been ethically compromised now for 6 years, and for the last 4 in particular, but for 6 years. Ever since a certain party got in a lot of trouble for having a private email server that they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And anyway,
this article continues to go on, but you kind of get the idea, folks, of what they're talking about. I know we kind of got sidetracked by Koof. I'm curious to see if I got demonetized at this point. Well, yes, we are demonetized. Go figure. We always get demonetized.
Yeah, we said many bad things, and I reiterated them.
Yeah. Spirit of Sanity, end times, LOL. Seriously, man, it's like I said, I'm not a religious person, but there's shit that makes me wonder.
Yeah, and I don't think that was a good Schwarzenegger movie either. Oh wait, that was End of Days.
Yeah, End of Days. Jeffo for $4.99, $4.99. I hit the like button. I don't hate the player, hate the game. Smooches, love you guys. Thank you, Jeffo.
Thank you so
much. Love you guys.
And you know what? I finally was able to update my member credit video today, and you're on it, Jaffo. So thank you very much. So yeah, I've got members. I didn't know you. That's amazing.
I still have not set my membership yet, mainly because I don't know what to give members at this point. I don't want it to be like my subscribe star, where it's like different tiers and people get nothing. And I've hit my subscribers. I'm saying, hey, what would you like? And they're like, don't worry about it. I'm like, yeah, I get that, but still, it's like you guys are giving me money on a monthly basis. I really would like to give you something back.
Dude, it's easy. I just hang out with them, man. I have a live stream for like everybody. Anybody who becomes a member, whatever level, that they're going to get a live stream with.
Well, they join your live stream?
Yeah. I'm going to have people float in, just kind of like Gary does.
Okay.
And I can host 10 people in StreamYard, right? Provided my internet works. But and then everybody else that's a member can hang out in the chat. We can all just hang out together, and that's valuable to me, right? And then my next tier, because I couldn't think of a third tier thing. I'll figure that out. But the second tier I have, which is the top tier, is called the gold thing. The gold. I named it like casino crap because that's my shtick. But those folks are going to get an exclusive video, a deep dive video that goes in deep on some subjects. Like the one that I'm working on now is really kind of cool. It's about how Hollywood can kind of work around this and actually save money going forward. There's a lot of stuff going on in the background. So yeah, that's just the crap I focus on though, and I can talk about that forever. That's the problem is, I have to condense my videos to like that 10-minute golden wonderment that makes everybody happy, the algorithm, the attention span, all of that. Normally I talk for like 2 or 3 weeks. It's like my game, I'm going to warn you all on Wednesday, the game review video I do for Watch Dogs Legion is 25 minutes long. It is.
That's short. I like Shad's idea. Comix will DM a first edition game with his members.
There you go.
I suppose that I don't know. It's already. I'm already running a game, and it's already taxing as is. I don't think I could do maybe like I don't know. Well, once a month game with Comics Division. We can live stream it. I don't know.
That'd be fun. Yeah.
What
kind of game?
All right. I don't know. It'd be D&D. He's talking about D&D. Toxic Man Flu for $2. I have to pay people to like me comics. All right. Comics striptease.
Jaffa.
Nobody wants to see that. All right. If I was to do something that stupid, I would seriously get in shape. Nobody wants to see my flabby ass 46-year-old body.
True lies.
You might want to see the 50-year-old body, but that's
take it off slow.
I would need to pump some serious iron.
Turn around.
No.
We are here to pump. You are.
Look at you. I sent you over here to be manly men, and you are girly men.
Girly man.
Send in the Tomb of Horrors.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Let me. God damn it, awesome one. Seriously, dude. Comics. Yeah, whatever, dude. You look a lot younger than me and probably are in a lot better shape. Like I said, no one wants to see my fat, flabby ass. All right, Chad. So I would seriously give it a consideration.
Oh, the strip
yeah,
tease?
there's no, the D&D thing, you dumbass.
Oh,
Not
I'm
the
sorry. I was
strip
thinking
tease thing.
because like I'm like, well, Perry Chan could put your head going, hey, on top of one of those geese. What was that male stripper movie that everybody thought
Magic
was
Mike.
good? That's what I'm thinking.
Magic Mike.
It'd be
yeah.
Magic Mike, except it'd be
Seriously,
Magic
dude, you're
Mike.
the same age. Is that a younger picture? Anyway.
I don't know. Wow, dude. Oh, wow, that's a young looking person.
Fortunately,
But
I look pretty good for 46. A lot of people think I'm still in my 70s. A lot of people think I'm still in my 70s, 30s. God, we're ending it right now because I've officially gone full retard. All right, we've exhausted super chats, and yeah, I know that these guys got to go, and I need to make a video tonight because I got sucked into a live stream last night, and I didn't get a chance to make a video last night like I was planning on doing.
What live stream were you doing?
Demonetized birthday live stream.
Oh, that's right. I sent a super chat, but I couldn't be on it because I was in another one of my own. So, dude, Demogenize is awesome. I really want to hang out with that dude. Next time he throws me an invite, I'm going no matter what. I'm just gonna ditch people.
I thought you were in your 30s. I am in my 40s. I can't even say I'm in my mid 40s. Well, I am in my mid 40s technically, but I'm about to be not so much mid 40s anymore.
You're closer to me than 40, dude.
I certainly am closer to you than 40. Yeah, I'm closer to 50 than my 30s. That's for sure. Anyway, all right, folks. I think we'll go out to Koalas in the Rain.
Koalas in the rain.